Hi, welcome to Future TechnoSo. This Nikon Z8 has been my main workhorse camera for over a year now, and honestly, I still think it's the best all-around camera you can buy today. Let me explain why. And before we dive in, a quick thank you to PPA for sponsoring today's video. I'll share more about them a little later, but for now, let's jump right in. I'm going to break down the biggest reasons why the Z8 still holds its crown, and the last reason on this list is one that a lot of people are overlooking. For me, it's the most exciting part about Nikon's future. The first reason is video versatility. The Nikon Z8 gives you a unique balance. On one side, you can shoot simple, fast-paced video for platforms like YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. On the other, you can push it into pro territory closer to cinema-style productions. Nikon introduced Red LUTs for N-Log, which means you can replicate Red's color science directly inside your Z8 workflow. That opens the door to grading in DaVinci Resolve with ProRes, giving you serious flexibility. For me, most of my video content is for YouTube, so I usually keep things simple. Flat profile, light grade, quick export. But when you know the option is there to step into higher-end production without switching systems, that's huge. And yes, this camera shoots 8K. I've tested it in different situations, and overheating hasn't been a major issue for me. The only time I noticed it was when I pushed it hard past the 45-minute mark in 8K, and even then, it wasn't something that ruined the shoot. Compare that to reports I've read about the Canon R5, which seems to have more consistent overheating issues. That reliability matters. Now let's move on to photography. Honestly, this part doesn't need a lot of hype, because Nikon's reputation already speaks for itself. But I'll say this, I've never once been disappointed with the Z8 when it comes to photos. The image quality is consistently excellent. Autofocus is sharp, low-light performance is reliable, and the files are clean. I used this camera during a campaign for Honda in Vegas. It was a nightmare lighting situation. No controlled lights, lots of low light, constantly changing conditions. The Z8 handled it without breaking a sweat. I've also used it for street photography, portraits, and travel work. No matter the scenario, it's always reliable. That's the key point for me. With the Z8, I don't have to second guess. I know I'll get the shot. Another thing I really appreciate is Nikon's growing lens lineup. If you invest in the Z8, you're also stepping into a system that's constantly improving. Nikon has been releasing incredible glass for the Z mount. The 35mm f1.2, for example, is easily one of the best lenses of the year. It's pricey, but the quality is unmatched. The 14-24 mirror is another favorite of mine, and even Nikon's smaller pancake lenses punch above their weight. I used one during a trip to New York to shoot B-roll at the Made by Google event. All the footage and photos from that lens looked professional, even though it's compact and unassuming. Nikon has always been known for lenses, and with the Z lineup, they've really doubled down. The fact that you can pair a Z8 with lenses this good makes the system even more valuable. Then there's the price-to-performance ratio, which I think is the Z8's biggest advantage. For $4,000, you're getting performance that rivals or even matches cameras like Sony's Alpha 1 or Canon's R3, which costs $6,500. That's a $2,000 difference. With that savings, you can buy another lens or two and build a complete kit instead of blowing your budget on just a body. Yes, the Canon R5 sits closer in price, but as I mentioned earlier, overheating is a drawback that you can't ignore if you're shooting video. When you step back and look at the full package, the Z8 just delivers more value. Before we get to the final reason, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, PPA, Professional Photographers of America. In January 2026, I'll be in Nashville from the 11th to the 13th for Imaging USA. It's the world's largest and oldest photography conference, with over 80 live sessions led by experts. PPA gives photographers like us access to affordable equipment insurance up to $15,000 worth, with a flat $350 deductible. They also provide business resources like model releases and cancellation letters to protect your work and clients. The best part is, if you use the link in the description, you'll not only get 25% off a full membership, but also free access to Imaging USA. That's a huge perk. And I'd love to see some of you there in January. Now let's wrap this up with the final reason I love the Z8. This one isn't about the camera itself, but about Nikon's future. If you missed the news, Nikon recently acquired Red. Yes, Red, the cinema camera company. That changes everything. It means Nikon now has access to technology, color science, and cinema-level expertise that could completely reshape their future cameras. We're already seeing the impact with the new Nikon ZR, which was just announced days ago as Nikon's first dedicated mirrorless cinema camera. This validates everything I've been saying. If you buy into Nikon now with the Z8, you're positioning yourself for the future. you're not just buying a hybrid camera. You're buying into an ecosystem that's about to integrate cinema tech directly into the next generation of hybrid bodies. Think about what that could mean. A Z8 Mark II, for example, could inherit video specs and workflow tools from the ZR, pushing Nikon ahead of Sony and Canon in hybrid performance. Imagine a true all-in-one system where your photography camera and your cinema rig share the same lens ecosystem, color science, and design philosophy. That's the kind of future Nikon is setting up. The Z8 right now is already the perfect balance between photography and video. But looking ahead, it's also the entry point into what could be a whole new era for Nikon cameras. For me, that's the biggest reason to stick with this camera. It's reliable today, powerful enough to rival anything else out there, and it's future-proof in a way that few other cameras are. Nikon is clearly investing in building a system that creators can grow with for years. And that's why I'll continue to use the Z8 as my main workhorse camera.
Hi,